tip. Tonight, I'm pleased to award half-century certificates to 3 other callers who have reached this momentous milestone and are here at this convention.
Can you see some?
The first gentleman I'd like to introduce is Hal Barnes from Rockford, Colorado. Hal, would you come on? He was Hal in 1966, joined CALLERLAB in 1985. Hal, it's nice to see you here.
Can you see?
Yeah. I'll look around though.
You're looking around.
No, you're fine, man.
You're okay.
Stay there.
Thank you. This will be the only time I ever get to address this group, so I'd like to take a couple of minutes. When I was in 9th grade, my parents in Colorado Springs started a square dance club for junior high and high school kids. I had no idea how that would influence my life. I met my excellent wife, Elaine, at the University of Colorado at a square dance. She has attended almost every dance I have called for the last 45 years. Brings a whole new meaning to the term, for better or worse. We all stand on someone else's shoulders. In my case, it's Frank Lane and Don Franklin. I patterned my calling after them, and they made excellent examples for a young caller. The square dancing is our community. When my daughter Allison was 20 years old, a number of years ago, she was in an accident and became paralyzed. She's a quadriplegic. The square dance community in the Washington, D.C. area, with the participation of virtually all the callers, had a very large benefit dance for us in which they raised $25,000. That allowed us to buy a wheelchair van for our daughter Allison, and it made all the difference in the world. So that is the kind of community that we have in square dancing. Finally, square dancing for callers is just a huge intellectually stimulating activity. Every week I think of something that I had not seen before, and it makes me feel like a dummy that it took 50 years for me to see something like that. There's a lot of smart people here. But you know what? I went to Lee Compton's session the other day, and Lee said, "Let me show you something I just thought of last week." And I said, "Yes, I'm in good company."
Our next 50-year certificate winner is Vance McDaniel from Knightdale, North Carolina. Vance began calling in 1966, joined CALLERLAB in 1980. Vance?
Oh, you're fine.
Wow, what a ride. 50 years. I have a couple of people I need to thank. First, my mother, God rest her soul, for getting me started in this activity. She decided when I was 13 years old that I'd been, well, probably like most of us started, memorizing singing calls. She decided it was time for me to teach a class. So she helped me organize a class in Mannheim, Germany. We were on a military, Army dependent installation. We had 125 8 through 11-year-olds come out and learn how to square dance. I wish I knew how many of those youngsters were still dancing today. I don't know. It'd be nice to know. Secondly, my wife, Sheila. Stand up, Sheila. Sheila has put up with me for 27 and a half years now. Me and all my idiosyncrasies.
Holy cow.
And she's had a job. In 50 years of teaching and calling square dancing, I've learned a lot, as I know many of you have also. But I just want to throw a couple, I've learned a lot, but there's two things that stick out to me. It took me almost 50 years to finally realize. The first one is, it's always my fault. If the dancers aren't dancing, it's my fault. I either didn't teach them properly, or I didn't teach it at all. I'm calling too fast, I'm calling too slow, the sound is too loud, the sound is too... It doesn't matter. If they're not dancing, it's my fault. So I need to do something to make sure they dance. That's the first thing. The second thing is, did you know that there's people who don't like this activity? I find that hard to understand. I just don't understand that. But there are people who don't like the square dance. I always thought everybody would enjoy square dancing. But come to find out, some folks don't. Unfortunately, and I feel sad for them because they're missing out on a great activity and a great opportunity. Thank you.
Our next half-century award certificate winner is Jeff Priest, Brantford, Ontario, Canada. Jeff began calling in 1965, joined Colorado in 1981. Jeff serves as the chairman of the International Advisory Committee. He's received his 50-year certificate last year, but was unable to attend, and this is the first convention that we've had the opportunity to honor him. So, Jeff.
Thank you. It truly is an honor to receive this. I started dancing at the age of 7. I started calling at the age of 9. I was very fortunate to have parents who were very involved in this activity, and many of you in this room may recall Lloyd and Vivian Priest. They were members of CALLERLAB, and my father seemed to be somewhat opinionated in some cases. I didn't think callers were supposed to do that, but it happened. Anyway, it's a great honor. I really enjoyed the 50 years. I made a living in this activity. And the square dancers are wonderful people. The only thing I want to add is that I sure hope that when they create the 75-year award, it comes with a gold watch.
Congratulations to our callers this evening that have received this milestone. How about a nice round of applause? Now there's 11 additional active CALLERLAB members who have earned their half certificate or their half-century award this year. And although they were unable to be with us, we'd like to honor them by announcing that certificates will be mailed to them immediately following the convention. And I want you all personally listen to these names, and if you know any of these callers, make sure that you congratulate them on their 50 years. Al Calhoun from Canada, Dave Keel from Wyoming, Don Thompson from California, Ed Ruddy from Connecticut, Gary Dodd from Canada, Herschel Tolson from Illinois, Jerry Carmen from New York, Jerry Junk from Nebraska, Kyoko Yoko from Japan, Elmer Sheffield from Florida, and Scotty Sherrar from Florida. Make sure you touch base with these callers and congratulate them the next time you see them. Thank you.
Thank you, Mike. Al Calhoun, the first name he mentioned, taught Barry and I to dance 43 years ago, and he's still calling. He's a great guy. Thrilled that he's got his 50 years.
He will be 90 years old this year.
Yeah, 90 years old this year, and still calling, and still telling mostly the same jokes, but he's still got such enthusiasm for this activity. It is just delightful to see. Our next award will be presented by our chairman, Mr. Vernon Jones. Vernon is from Springtown, Texas, started calling in 1978, joined CALLERLAB in 1981, and this is his 18th convention. He's currently serving on the executive committee and is our current chairman of the board. Vernon.
Thank you, Pam, and thank you, Dana. I don't guess I would have ever figured that one out. That's between me and Dana. Thank you. I'm not going to share it. This is going to be a very busy night, so we've got to move along. Just recently, we received the news that one of our greatest treasures was going to retire from the road in calling and thus begin to wind down a great calling career. This news prompted the executive committee to action, and the result was the Lifetime Achievement Award. The EC discussed at great length if a Lifetime Achievement Award was the proper award to give in a situation like this. So very rarely does a caller of this magnitude come along that it just seemed like it would be wrong if we didn't recognize the importance of this event. It doesn't matter that the EC has not yet developed any criteria for this award, because it was understood that no matter what criteria was agreed upon, Marshall Flippo would certainly meet and exceed it. There is no other caller in the world that is so loved and well known than Marshall Flippo. How many callers are recognized by just the mention of their own names? Just mention the last name of Flippo or even the partial name of Flip, and people in the Square Dance community will know who you're talking about. Marshall is one of the 11 founding fathers of CALLERLAB, a Milestone Award winner and a Gold Card recipient. His recording of The Auctioneer is arguably the best-selling Square Dance record recording of all time, and no other caller has kissed more pretty women than Marshall. It is very sad to think that many of us in this room tonight will never have the opportunity to dance to Marshall Flippo again. Please join me in congratulating a true treasure of our activity by awarding Marshall Flippo this Lifetime Achievement Award.
Taylor, we got him food. Still don't know. Thank you, Vernon, very much. You're a good guy. Also young. Howdy, everybody. Hi. I'd like to thank, well, I would say, my ex-friend now. She said, we're going to sit at the staff table. I said, why? She said, that's all right, we sit there. I said, I'm not on the staff. She said, I know that. There'll be a place for you. I'd like to thank her, first of all, and Melton, my dear friend that I danced to before I ever started calling. Anyway, they took me to the hospital yesterday, and I had a little reoccurrence of my gonorrhea. How do you like these new female design toilet seats? I've been in 2 rooms, and that with a hole in it, you've got to hold that sucker up, or it falls right back down. And then
Oh, by the way, everybody's invited to Jerry's party after the National. Anyway, I think, you know, one of the things back to the bathroom, the worst thing I find about getting old is when you sit down on that stool in the restroom or in the bathroom and your testicles hit the water. Back, I can see.
It's called a what? He wants the mic back.
You know, I told Royce, I said, Royce, let's sit in the back. I always sit in the back, sit in the back. I sat in the back of the bus, sit in the back of church. And I always sit in the back. Let's sit. No, she said, you got to sit at that table. And I thought, there must be something up, and I guess there was. I always sat in the back. I guess the Lord made me small so nobody would see me, but everything, you know, everything that happens is up front. Especially with sex. Well, I'll tell you a little bit about my ex-wife. The first one. I was a visitor, you know, and we were sitting out in our beautiful backyard watching the birds, and she's got about 5 wildcats. They're half wild. That's Jones look. And we're watching the pretty birds, and the squirrel was having us a glass of wine, was talking along, and all of a sudden she said, wow, you know something? I don't think I could ever live without you. Top of the world I got. She said, I just love you so much, I just don't think I could live without you. And I said, is that you talking or is that the wine? She said, it's me talking to the wine. If I get a nurse like Royce, I'll be around.
He's definitely one of a kind.
We did it.
By the way, I was kissed by Tom Miller last night. Keep an eye on
I have a picture to prove it from this afternoon. Our next award will be presented by Mr. John Marshall. John is from Sterling, Virginia. Started calling in 1969. Joined CALLERLAB in 1980. This is his 37th convention. He is currently on the Board of Governors and is a past chairman of the board. Mr. John Marshall.
You know, I felt bad for Pam. I heard that story about her trip in. And I was really surprised. She's known Tim Crawford a long time. But I guess word had received. Next time I think you should deny. When they ask you, no. I've never heard of it. You mean Tim Crawford, golfer? That would be the right answer, I think. Before I begin this presentation, I'd like to address a question.
why do we make award presentations? Some of the first-time attendees, sometimes newer callers or younger callers, sometimes visitors, they've been heard to say things like, what do I care about what these people have done? Or, I don't even know these people. Why are they spending my time at this convention handing out awards? I've heard it said that all CALLERLAB wants to do is pat one another on the back. Well, I don't know. It feels pretty good to get a pat on the back once in a while, whether it be from your partner or your peers. And unfortunately, we sometimes forget that. The individuals that we honor, as an answer to those people with those questions, those individuals that are getting these awards, they may serve. They may serve to inspire you to become one of those people who cares more about the activity than necessarily you do yourself. They may be able to show you just how much so many of us care about the future that you hope to enjoy. Because for a lot of us, yes, we've got a lot of time in it, and a lot of the folks who get awards have time in it. But we've loved it, and you've heard people after person stand here and tell you that. Well, I think that a quality organization, a worthwhile organization, should and does acknowledge its heroes. I think it's a healthy thing to do. I think it's appropriate. You don't know all these people, but you will get to know them. That's one of the joys of coming to CALLERLAB. So I did want to make that part clear. Now, tonight, I'm really privileged. I feel very, very privileged to be entrusted with the presentation of what many people say could be considered modification, hence Lifetime Achievement Award, okay, shift in the speech, right? One of the 3 highest awards that CALLERLAB can present. The gold card like membership in CALLERLAB, it's always given in recognition of selfless service to CALLERLAB, not to the activity as a whole. We have things for that. One of those things that we have for that service is, in fact, our milestone. Well, I'm happy to tell you that tonight's recipient has already reached that and received that honor. This is an honor that they're being awarded for their service to this organization. The person who gets this is selected by unanimous vote of the executive committee. So it has to be 100% down the line. Very often, the people that receive this are nominated from within the executive committee. Other times not. Other times folks recommend to the committee whoever the standing EC is at that time for them to evaluate and consider. It's not easily done. It's not given to a great many people. Now, it can be given to people who have retired, but it is also often given, I shouldn't say often, it's never given often, but it is given to people that are still very active callers, and that will be tonight's case. But the EC has determined that this is a fully appropriate award, and I couldn't agree more. Another person from the EC did the nomination because they beat me to it. I was trying to get there first, didn't make it, but I was allowed the opportunity to make the presentation. Now, the list of those who've been given this recognition is fairly short. It includes people who have worked very hard and very selflessly to enhance CALLERLAB. This organization has many ways of recognizing its members, as I said, Milestone being one of them, but there are others, of course, and as you've seen, some of the retired board members and so on this evening. Now, let me talk to you about this person. Inasmuch as we only meet until midday tomorrow, I'm going to have to refer you over to their milestone history, so you have some sense of how they received the milestone. Because if I get into that as well, we will be here till Thursday. I kid you not. This person's accomplishments and dedication and services are just astounding. Taken in the whole, it's an amazing thing. Now, I want to make sure I don't miss anything here. Maybe I'm just going to double check my place. This individual has been so involved in the world of square and round dancing and contra and national experience conventions and legacy and the arts, etc. And again, it would take forever to go through it all. I've been to this person's home. They have no place for any more awards. They're going to have to build an annex, right? And it would be deserved nonetheless, and that's important to note. Now, this person's, I've given you all the really critical things up to this point. Has anybody figured out who it is yet? Don't say it. I'm curious, how many people think they know who's not on the EC? That's a pretty good percentage. Well, we'll get there very shortly, okay? The list of Gold Card lifetime members who are attending this year's convention, I'm going to ask you to stand so you can be recognized. But again, you'll see that there are not a huge number. But those attending this year are Jim Mayo, John Jones, Bill Heyman, Marshall Flippo, and Melvin Luttrell. These are attending here. They are all Gold Card recipients. Please acknowledge them. Folks, there are 16 others, some of whom are no longer with us, but there are 16 others whose iconic names would be familiar to most, if not all of you. That's how special this award is. Now, having danced since 1952 and been calling since 1962, our recipient became a CALLERLAB member in 1976. She has served 3 terms on the executive committee, 2 as vice chairman of CALLERLAB. She is the first American woman elected to the Board of Governors. This year, she is completing her 25th year on the Board of Governors. In 1991, she was the first American woman to have achieved Caller Coach accreditation. She has served many times as a CALLERLAB panelist and continued to further CALLERLAB by volunteering her time and talent at the National Experience Convention CALLERLAB Education panels. She has served with many of you on a variety of CALLERLAB committees. She is past chairman of the Women in Calling Committee. She has been and is currently the chairman of the Caller Training Committee, having already been vice chair of that committee between 1999 and 2006. She is the current CALLERLAB liaison to the artists and has also served as its chairman. Additionally, she has chaired a number of special ad hoc committees. Notably, what some of you may not be aware of is the collection and editing of the Best of CALLERLAB's Signature Series, a major project that she and her husband headed up to take the old recordings, select through, find what was judged to be the best of, re-edit them, name them, put them in time frames, etc. Huge job. This was done some years ago and is available, I believe, on our website. Is that correct? They are available. They should be listened to. There's some amazing information there from some amazing people. What a huge job, not to say the least. Also, the Caller Mentoring Handbook, which was completed last year. She headed that project. Folks, it's very seldom we see anybody who has done so much for the activity. And did they limit there? No. She and her partner have also supported our foundation. CALLERLAB's foundation has awarded her 4 Patrons Awards in recognition of her and her husband's financial contributions, the monies of which were generated by the sale of her professional video Learn to Dance series. One of the very early attempts at doing such a thing as an actual video and professionally done. Ladies and gentlemen, members, spouses, guests, and past gold recipients, I present for your approval and acknowledgement tonight's Gold Card honoree, Betsy Goddard.